Finding a moment in a video game that truly shakes you is one of the best parts of the medium. Moments of extreme loss, sexual deviance, and grotesque violence find their ways into our very cores and keep us hooked as we click on for a couple hours more. Watch on for a collection of some of the most shocking moments in video games, but be wary, there will be spoilers ahead. Would you kindly? Alright, so I've said spoilers, and I'm just gonna repeat myself here. Spoilers ahead. The visually stunning and cripplingly thrilling BioShock wowed gamers across the globe to universal acclaim in 2007. Not only did this game prove that video games could be art, but every turn was filled with suspense and moral quandaries. Nearing the final act of the game, some rather incredible facts are revealed about the protagonist that result in Andrew Ryan, the assumed villain, using his control over you to beat him to death with a golf club. Slowly, and very, very graphically. I see you. Dead Space is a dark space opera and a gosh darn delight when it comes to gratuitous violence. The 2011 sequel managed to continue in the footsteps of its predecessor with more impalement, exploding alien larva babies, plenty of suicide, and one particularly brutal minigame. At one point in the plot, Isaac, the protagonist, has to crawl inside an ocular enhancement chamber to receive a vital boost and continue the story. If the player manages to ace this rather difficult minigame, Isaac receives the injection and walks away. If they don't, the machine sticks a 5-inch needle into your eye and then repeatedly rams itself over and over again into your skull until all that remains is goo. Who are you calling a girl? Alright, this particular moment might seem a little tame by today's standards, but in 1986, the revelation that the main character of Metroid was female, let alone bikini-clad, was a pretty big deal. Depending on how many total hours you accumulated playing the game, the gamer could unlock a variety of different endings, each one showing the heroine Samus in a different state of undress. 10 hours of normal gameplay got you a crummy ending featuring Samus's back turned to you as she looked out over the galaxy. Beating the game in under an hour, however, got you the tantalizing pixels of a bikini-clad space babe waving to you as the credits begin to roll. This trend continued over several sequels of the game as Samus evolved from a series of sexy squares to the ass-kicking babe we all now know. Hide the sausage. Video game developer Rare brought gamers some delightfully shocking and perverse moments in its release of Conker's Bad Fur Day. However, one of its more peculiar perversions finds its home in the much more PG Banjo-Tooie circa 2000. If the player looks hard enough while flying around Pterodactyly Land, it's pretty hard to miss this ejaculating spectacle. These sorts of cheeky Easter eggs are everywhere in Rare's games, but this one is just so direct. I mean, there it is. Bam! Sausage found. Business time. So when it comes to the God of War franchise, there really is no way to pick just one moment. Between the constant grudge match played out killing gods and the plethora of revealed upper torsos, you can pretty much just tag the entire series as shocking. Of all the series, a particularly sexual sequence in the 2013 release of God of War Ascension rises to the top of the very sexy blood pool. In this scene, the player finds Kratos in what can only be described as a brothel surrounded by topless women. Everywhere. Of course, the attractive women turn out to be spider creatures and things escalate rather quickly, but for a moment there, things get really steamy. Talk about a climax. I've never quite had my jaw drop watching a video game cinematic quite like this particular gem from the 2012 Far Cry 3. Never before has a game so graphically simulated first-person mounting and execution of a sexual encounter quite like this. In the scene, the player finds himself topping the leader of the native Citra, with all the grunting and panting one might associate with the act, only to moments later find her taking control. In the moment that things seem like they might heat back up again, Citra instead plunges an 8-inch dagger into your heart. A damn fine cup of coffee. There really isn't anywhere to start with the Grand Theft Auto franchise when it comes to shocking. Each game finds something new and delightfully twisted to bring to the table when it comes to sex and brutality, commonly the two things happening at the same time. A standout occurrence for the franchise, however, happened in the coding of 2005's GTA San Andreas that was not taken into account when the game was given its original M rating. Using a simple downloaded mod, gamers could unlock this previously hidden code and engage in graphic sexual exploits with female characters. The scenes were so graphic and the mod so widespread, the game had to be re-rated, receiving an adults only, the first blockbuster game to ever receive such a rating. Going postal. In 1997, Postal made waves as being spectacularly pointless in its use of violence, crude language, and just general awfulness. The game's general premise, being a postal worker who actually goes postal and you kill as many people as you can. The game was given a sequel in 2004, which furthered the depravity by allowing you to engage in such activities as urinating on corpses and using cats as silencers for your weapons. Within a year of the game's release, it had been banned in several countries for its gross, abhorrent content. Daddy's Little Girl. While most of the entries in this video are jarring in their violence or sexuality, we at last come to The Last of Us. The game itself excels in the action genre for its use of characters and twists, but one of its most shocking moments gets you right in the beginning of the game. The game starts off in a more mundane fashion, with the player controlling the action of a young girl named Sarah as the world begins its quick descent into chaos. As the action ramps up, Sarah finds herself fleeing from civilization with her father and a family friend, only to be stopped by a soldier with orders to stop all civilians. Before anyone has time to properly discuss the situation, the soldier opens fire, hitting Sarah, who dies in her father's arms. The scene is absolutely devastating, and enough to bring just about any player to tears. Wait, who survives? Honestly, the most shocking moment in Telltale Games' new breakout hit, Until Dawn, is the fact that you as a player can make every single character survive until the end of the game. This tribute to 90s horror flicks capitalizes on our inane desire to curse at our televisions, all the while judging the vapid protagonists in their struggle against the forces of evil. You asked for it. Now, you are in charge. If the fact that everyone survives isn't good enough for you, there is always that horribly shocking moment when Jessica gets abducted and you get the pleasure of watching her jaw slowly get ripped out. Oh god, those popping sounds. No Russian. The Call of Duty games are famous for providing pretty excellent multiplayer experiences and a run-in, guns-blazing sort of logic. Within the 2009 release of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, players around the globe found themselves on the wrong side of a terrorist attack. In the fourth mission of the blockbuster game, the player finds himself working undercover for a terrorist organization on a mission to murder as many civilians at an airport as possible. Harmless civilians are gunned down in the hundreds, desperately attempting to flee your automatic fire, dragging themselves, leaving trails of blood, and overwhelming the soundtrack with screaming. This mission obviously stirred up its fair share of controversy, and through a patch you can now skip the mission entirely at no penalty. So those are our shocking moments in video game history. What are yours? Let us know in the comments. But while you're here, here's a couple other videos we think you might enjoy. And please don't forget to click like and subscribe. Thanks!